What's up, YouTube? 2020 Tantra on Amazon. Info in the description. So, one breath brings you to the next one. So that's how you stay breatharian. But the way you take the breath determines the reality that you live. So you take in the cosmic alchemical light, the seed energy, the resonance. You take that in with the breath. You exhale it, birth your reality from here until the next breath, and then the cycle repeats. And you project with your mind's eye, which the light from the mind's eye is delivered to you from the universal eye. Because basically, you got like a universal eye. You can think of it like a sperm cell floating through infinity, or however you want to look at it. You got the universal eye going through infinity, and it's casting light. That's the direction. That's the path of least resistance. That's the light. The path into the light seems dark. So in that path of least resistance, you have a bunch of projections of self living out self, all the possibilities, all the dimensions of self, all the ways to look at yourself. All those things play out based on the light that's provided by this initial copy of the initial God cell, or data, or daddy, the initial blueprint of God or creation. We are basically a sperm cell encased, a sperm cell with a the tail. That's your spine. That's encased in this machine. Once you realize that it's a machine that you're encased in, you can control it. But we've been underneath this casting, this sacrificial, artificial game that's been basically cast congruent or next to the true movie that's happening from the original light or the original source. You can do whatever you want to do alchemically from breath to breath. You just have to stay with the stream, with the path of least resistance. So people can create whatever they want to create. They're already creating the hamburgers they're going to eat and all that type of stuff from breath to breath. Just by thinking about it, you create it from breath to breath. The more conscious you breathe, then you create a whole other echelon of reality with the light that you're being blessed with, or that you're being, it's just you. You're the rope to climb out of or climb into. It doesn't matter. But when you forget that you're the observer, then you get fed back to yourself like Soylent Green. So if you look at life like cells, you can see like we're all projectors of copies of the one perfect creation. But if you look at it like cells, a cell that isn't in trust within its cell, it's gonna create lack within its cell. So it starts to shrink and diminish view. So then it projects lack. So when other cells come around it, or when it synchronizes with other cells in the flow of life, then it is trying to push out or astral project out of its cell. And in that, you have a musical chairs effect that happens. As soon as you start to leave your body and project and start to see things that are not congruent with where the light is going, as soon as you start to create your own movie away from the original template, then you just start to decline, and the intelligence starts to decline, the template starts to break down, you start to have to reincarnate through your sons and daughters instead of changing the cosmic code slightly and continually, producing a peaceful matrix, because it's ours, it's our projection, and we can play with it. But we are given the light, and it's a path of light that we have to follow, that we're basically our breath-form trail. We take our breath, go with the path of least resistance, and that's true love, and then we take the light in, we metabolize it, turn it into the love, express it in the breath, and keep going with the path of least resistance. Or you go with the death breath, you identify with limitation, identify with the echelon of the body, and you continue to manifest from that point. And you go away from the light into the darkness, because you're burning your own light, projecting into your own subconsciousness in that downward spiral. So everybody is in grids. We're all in these grids. We're all in a breath grid. Everybody's in a breathing algorithm grid, and people can't even hear you. They'll receive the light. The light will hit their body, but they'll only be able to perceive the language that they've been trained, where their ears can perceive, the level of the light spectrum that they can perceive. So you can hold up a sign that says truth, truth, truth. If their eyes only know the language of false, all they can read is false. So it doesn't matter. You don't want to reduce your scope to go to that paradigm to try to communicate with something less intelligent. You have to create a better pattern and just continue to follow the path of least resistance, because you don't want to stop the flow of the breath. That's how no one can be saved in this process, and that's how you can't really prove any points or things like that and try to go against the process of the path of least resistance. Now, I could go sit in the middle of Times Square and not eat ever again, but I'm gonna experience the sense of separation way greater than if I would just follow the perfect movie that's happening. And then I make my subtle alterations as the tailor of the movie or the architect of the movie. As I do that, and in light of my source, and I follow the light and continually from breath to breath manifest my reality, manifest the green juice in my mind, then I literally go do it. And every breath I take, I'm breathing in the light to make it all happen. So it's always me. So I don't have to move to do it. So if I stay in the stationary spot and become extremely sensitive, hypersensitive, hyper aware, then I can project to that without moving the 3D body. I'll chemically go through that memory, fully satisfy the body, because the memory is basically you organizing those chemicals in your own brain. That's how you can even think about the taste of something through a daydream, or you can daydream and your palms start sweating, because that's alchemy. That's just parts of you that are remembering that you are the projector and the projection, and that you've created this body to experience the breath through, because it is the breath manifested. So you create this body to experience all the dimensions of life, to follow the light, to experience all echelons of the world, or what people are calling the globe. But all layers of that pyramid can be expressed up this. It's like a snake. It's a tree, all the way up to the center of the North Pole. But the trees all collapsed, and then all the civilizations collapsed, and then you had. But that was the means of world travel before, just the breath. And you can go from tree to tree up the pyramids. The pyramid of planes. It's planes of existence, or horizons of existence. So at the top you have the North Pole, and then it's no different than your system. Everything's an expression. It's all a mirror. So you have this perfection that's happening. It is going into eternity, constantly changing itself, constantly doing not damage control, but working on perfection. Perfection can never know itself. It's just realizing itself. So it's projecting itself and just working with that it's just like a child coloring, and then experiencing creation through the act of coloring. And then what it created comes to life, and it lives through that creation. That when you do that, then you align with source. The more you do that, so you breathe every day, you retain, you go through your veg cycles. You sharpen that mind's eye, and then you can you fill the cup, and then you can still go and play with your 3D body. It's not like you have to shut this down. You just veg properly, and then you can fill the cup, and then you can go project and play with that energy. And then once you get to a point of separation, a point of return, you got to go and catch that breath again, and then you can start projecting back with the light. But at some point, somebody got lost in there and started to misidentify, and then create from the misidentification, from the false template, from the broken template. So you got basically you got to look at it like the more the body is like the devil, and the cells or the thoughts, again, the thoughts are like watchers, and you are the projector, and the thoughts are trying to take the control, the keys. So that's really about it, man. That's kind of all. That's the breadcrumb trail right there. When you have a cell that doesn't want to handle its karmas, and it has created that separation, and it's going through that musical chairs syndrome, then it's just trying to eat and take energy and take energy and take energy, but everything that takes gives. So it's constantly running from itself, the karma that it's created, until it has to sit down and accept the reality of the karma, and then take the breaths to reverse that, and then start to flow with the path of least resistance again. This all seems like time and tears and a bunch of stuff, but it's all, the path of least resistance is so easy. It just appears hard, just like the path into the light appears dark, or the path forward seems to go back, or the direct path seems long, or true purity seems tarnished, true steadfastness seems changeable. Like this is what happens when we get lost within the projection that we create. So that's really about it for now. Just be wary. Again, the body is the devil. It is. You got to realize that it's the cells within the body are constantly coming to try to take the keys. Any distraction is a cell within the system trying to take that energy, take that chi from breath to breath. And the more you concentrate on filling the cup, breathing, taking the cleanest light in that you can take, cleanest music at the cleanest frequency that you can take in, be around the most intelligent people, the most light that you can be around, things that reverberate intelligence, that vibrate intelligence and life off of them. Plants, more ancient plants, those things will fill the cup, and then you have constant reference point. It's this crown chakra has such a void. It's people have voids in every chakra. That's why they eat. It's a void here, and a void here, and a void here, and a void here, and a void. It's just voids. So when you vibrate the sounds, you fill those voids gently, more and more gently, until you don't have a void anymore. And because if you want to be full, allow yourself to be empty. If you want to be given everything, give everything up, and then you restart. At this point, I realize you can eat whatever you want to eat. It's just that everything has a cost. You're playing this 3D game. So I wouldn't want to, eat trash and convert my breath with that. I'd rather learn levitation or learn whatever it is, to gradually project into that reality, send my consciousness into that stream instead of the other way, So it's however you want to look at it. Your limitations are up to you. Again, you either say you can create your reality and you're right, or you say you can't and you're right. So you are the God of your cell, and then once you realize that, then you can see the unity with all cells in the body and everything in general, and to never fight anything. And then as an alchemist, everything is you. So realize that there's no separation, and never fight anything. Never create duality. Let everything flow through you and accept, because you created it. Because it's returning to its source. Any hate that you're feeling, that's just probably old subconscious hate that you gave off that you don't even remember creating from just, imperfect, broken templates that you created in the quantum trajectory. So just let that hate come, breathe. It's energy, just convert it. Don't have an opinion on anything, That opinion is totally from a lower state of being. You are the projector, and you created this projection to experience what you project. So the info's in the description. You can get all the books on Amazon. You can find me on all forms of social media. I got 34 books for $100. You can get each one individually for $10. You can consult with me. I'll be on Kings Canyon soon. I'll probably be going to Ecuador at some point, or somewhere equatorial soon. I'm not exactly sure, but that's where the light is showing me. When you have a vision, and when you have a thought and you can't visualize it, then that's not in accord with the natural flow of light. So it's not with the momentum. So when you have a thought, you bring a thought like, hey man, I might want to go to the store, and you don't get the visual on that, then you're not being provided the light to manifest that reality. And that means that's away from the true reality. So anytime that you make moves away from that visual reality, you're burning your light away from the true reality. Then you got to breathe and get back to the real projection, the real path of least resistance, the love, the true you is what's doing all this. So you don't see separation in it, as you realize that, oh, each breath is pushing me towards love if I accept it. And when I create separation in any way, then I'm rejecting the breath. So I have to let the light flow through me. Then life continues to just build and build and build, and I only see abundance because I have no lack, because I see no separation. So, because everything is me. So that's really about it. Oh yeah, we can consult too for 50 per half hour or 100 per hour, however you want to do it. Again, I don't need anything. So, I mean, the money, I'm going to just get green juices and give green juices to people. Like at this point, whoever wants to come and learn and realize and do this breatharian garden of humans to where we absorb light, harmonize, realize the source creator, balance yin and yang in greater capacities to where we can evolve at a greater speed. We don't need anything. You know, if you want to realize your perfection, hit me up.